Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome to the last day of the BEAMathon. This is very bittersweet, but this is going to also be our last college panel AMA of the event, and I'm really excited for you guys to meet our amazing speakers. But before we get into introducing all of these wonderful people, let's get started with our first prize opportunity. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of a twist because whoever enters this will also have a chance to win one of this. Wait, hold on. Give me a second. Y'all know what I'm going to show. Wait. Hey guys. So this is a sneak preview for the closing ceremony, but whoever enters this competition will not only automatically win a sticker, but you guys will have the chance to win one of these pop figures like these. Maybe you can win the most irrelevant character from Riverdale. There you go. Or you can win Jonathan. Right there. He loves his pictures. Okay, that was a little bit too much. Or you can win Hopper with those vines, aka the knockoff version of Tarzan. Or you can win any one of these. You know what, might as well just throw the whole box in. Okay. All right, no, I promise. No, they're very sturdy. They're very stable, guys. So you can win any one of those prizes by entering this competition. So just feel free to tag Beam Community on Instagram about this workshop anytime before it ends, and you can have a chance to win one of those prizes. So wait, let's see what chat is. Yes, exactly. So without further ado, I'm just going to go down the line and just call on our speakers. And when I do call on you, just feel free to introduce yourself, what school you're going to attend or currently attending, and maybe some fun facts about you and what you're excited for this workshop. So Tanya, feel free to unmute your mic and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Tanya. I am a current senior in high school, but I'll be attending Cornell next year. I'll be a business major, and so I'm super excited to speak to you guys, both to give you guys my tips and also to hear more from all these other lovely speakers as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. So excited to hear from you. And Krishi, feel free to unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, so I'm Krishi, and I'm going to be attending UPenn, the Wharton School of Business this fall, 2021. And I really hope we go on campus, but either way, I'm really excited to give y'all some tips, and if COVID continues, hopefully y'all can benefit from some COVID tips we have. So,
Yeah. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. And we have Mia. Feel free to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, hi. So my name is Mia. I will be attending MIT next fall. I'm currently a high school senior. Fun facts, I have a very, very, very hyper dog. And also I'm considering majoring in electrical engineering and computer science or mechanical engineering. Not really sure yet, but I'm very happy to be fielding some questions today and hopefully doling out some advice for you guys.
Yeah, so excited to have you here. And Jonah, feel free to introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Jonah. I'm a current senior. I'll be going to Cornell next year, studying probably mechanical engineering, but maybe computer science or engineering physics, not really sure yet. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. And last but not least, we can have Ben introduce himself as well.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm a current senior at NYU studying business, and I actually have a job lined up for the summer at KPMG to do consulting.
Awesome. Yeah, so excited to hear from all of you guys. So without further ado, I'm going to unshare my screen and just go over a few things before we get started. So basically how this is going to work is if you guys have any questions related to the college application process, whether it be about interviews or the essays, or pretty much anything related to academics, feel free to drop it in the chat. I know Melinda gave a ton of questions. Wow, oh my God, wow, very curious to learn more about the college application process. So basically when I go over a question for the speakers, you can feel free to raise your hand virtually on the Zoom, and I can call on you and give the floor to you to answer the question. So let's see, there's a lot of questions here from Melinda from before. So let's see. Okay. So one of the questions she asked is, how can you guys show admissions officers that you're truly passionate about attending that specific school? So if any of the speakers have an answer to this question, feel free to raise your hand. Yeah, Krishi, feel free to go and give your take on that.
So I have like kind of a unique take. I don't know. But before I applied to Wharton, I just wanted to make sure it was the school for me and that I really wanted to go there. So I actually went on LinkedIn and I added or I connected with a whole bunch of people that that attend Wharton like right now. And I started asking them questions about like how they felt, how their like student culture was, and just like things like that. Like made me get like a better idea. And that like made me realize I really wanted to go to Wharton. And so during my interview, I actually talked about that. And I was like, oh, I was so passionate about going to Wharton, UPenn, that I actually reached out to students in previous years and I asked them questions to learn more about it. And my interviewer had never heard that before. So he was like kind of impressed, but just something you could use.
Yeah, those are some really awesome tips. Really great way to take initiative during the college application process. So we can go on to a next question. And let's see. So Melinda also asked, how were college interviews and were they long? And how do you think we should prepare for them? So this could be anything related to maybe calming your nerves before an interview, or maybe preparing for the interview itself, or asking questions for the interviewer. And yeah, Mia, go ahead and feel free to give your advice on that.
Yeah, so I personally love talking a lot, but I know that that's not everyone. And that's where like the interview can sometimes feel really stressful for someone. What you should really do is just think about what you want to get across to them, like who you want to show them, like uh, what things about yourself you want to highlight, and what you really want that college to know about you. And it's a way for them to get a very human perspective of you. So yeah, if you give it some thought and maybe approach it less of like an interview and more like a conversation, it becomes a little more comfortable in that sense. And as far as preparing for it, look over what you wrote in those essays, look over what you've done in high school, and think about what you really love about that school and what you want to emphasize. And of course, there's also tons and tons of interview questions online that you can look through just to get a sense of what you might be asked.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing those amazing interview tips. So this next question can apply for everyone. Melinda is asking, when did you guys start preparing for the whole college admissions process? And maybe this can also tie along with the fact, do you guys recommend people to start during that time that you guys started, or like procrastinate less, procrastinate more? Like, what are your thoughts on that? So Tanya, feel free to go give your take on that.
Yeah, so this is like my favorite piece of advice to give people. But I personally started in April of my junior year, so pretty early. Um, and the reason I did it is partly because of COVID, obviously, and more free time, but also because I was planning on applying to about 20 schools. And so I knew that I would have a lot on my plate. And so by starting my applications that early, I was able to finish them all pretty much by the end of the summer. And then I could just spend fall like editing and, just putting the final touches on these apps. And so I definitely recommend starting as early as possible. I know April is kind of overkill, but maybe try aiming for June, right after AP exams. And overall, I think it just makes it a lot less stressful.
Yeah, thank you so much for those insights, Tanya. And Ben, feel free to give your take on that too.
Sure. Actually, so I would say I'm going to give two pieces of conflicting advice. On the one hand, there's no reason not to start early because it can't hurt to start whenever. I think I actually toured my first school in November of my junior year. But at the same time, the fact that you guys are all on this call now also proves that you are ambitious students who are looking to make the effort to go to college. I don't think it's worth over stressing about. I think whether you start in April, whether you start in May, whether you start in June, whether you start in December, not well, December might be, I don't remember the exact deadlines. That might be a little late, but no matter when you start, you're going to get it done. You're going to get things done. They're going to be good. Start when you're ready, when you have a break from other responsibilities, whether that be school, family stuff, work, or whatever you guys are doing. Start when it's good for you. Like there's no set answer of when you should be starting.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely agree with that advice. Thank you so much for sharing. And Jonah, feel free to give your take on that too.
Yeah, I just want to add, so I agree with what they said, but also I'm just going to say the summer is a lot of time that is useful, and you should start early enough so that you can start writing or at least thinking about your essays in the summer, because once school starts up, you're going to get busy in like senior year. So I would definitely recommend starting to at least think about your essays over the summer. So start looking at schools early enough to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for those insights. Yeah, for me personally, I'm a professional procrastinator. I don't know about you guys. Can we get a me in the chat? Who's a procrastinator? Everyone say me. Oh my god, look at that. Look at all you guys. So this is the one time we're not divided. All right. Oh, he said sometimes. Okay. We need those non-procrastination skills. Okay. Yeah, so definitely really great advice for professional procrastinators like us. Okay, I'm gonna look for another question. I know Melinda had a lot. Let's see here. Okay, so Melinda is asking, were you guys given any resources regarding college admissions that you think others can benefit from? So for example, like mentorship programs that can match college students with high schoolers. Actually, Beam did that before, or like a college editing company, or I know there's like fly-in programs too, and like maybe summer programs that help with college admissions. Like, do you guys recommend any resources that you can use to prepare for college apps in the meantime? Yeah, and Mia, feel free to give your take on that.
Yeah, so just what I found was really helpful. A lot of times there's like online resources about all these different schools and their application processes, so definitely go to there. I also felt a little lost in my college application type route because neither of my parents, like, they both went to college but didn't like finish college, so I really wasn't um, all too have like a huge understanding of like the college admissions process. They were also like local colleges, not really like anything like T50 or T20. So there are great programs that can help match you to a counselor. Scholar Match is one of them. I think Matriculate is also a name of another one. And then of course Beam does their program every summer, I'm pretty sure. And then there are fly-in programs, and there were even virtual flying programs this year. So I applied to something called MIT Wise, and I was able to get into that, and it gave me a great sense of what that school's community is like. I got to talk to like professors and current students, and that really solidified like, okay, this is the school I want to go to. So those flying programs are a huge plus. If you get the chance to, definitely attend.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing those resources and advice. Yeah, I think fly-ins are pretty much hidden gems within the college admissions process. I really recommend going on Google and just searching up Reddit spreadsheet of flying programs. That's literally how I found like a list of flying programs, and I ended up doing the one at Penn, the Penn in Focus one. So I really recommend that. I know there's ones at like Johns Hopkins, Caltech, UMich, and stuff like that. So really recommend that if you want to get insight on colleges and connect with AOs and stuff like that. So let's see. Another question from Melinda again is, could you guys give a rundown on what you think a student should do in each year of their high school experience? So their freshman year, sophomore year, and then junior and senior year. You don't have to go over every single thing, but maybe some of the key points in each or like a few years. And Ben, yeah, feel free to give your take on that.
Yeah, as someone who's a couple of years out of this process, seeing younger friends in high school and my siblings going through it, I don't want to say I hate the question, but I hate that this is a question that has to be asked. I mean, colleges want people that are different, yet then people think they all have to do the same thing going in. I think the answer is don't go home from school and sit around all day watching TV. Colleges don't want to see that, unless maybe you're applying to like a film school. Then you could spin that in a specific way. My roommate's actually in the NYU film school and wrote his essay about watching TV instead of doing homework. But aside from that, do things you enjoy, show that you enjoy them, which shouldn't be hard because you enjoy them, and people will see your passion and be happy to do that. There are obviously some standard things like you have to get your applications into the deadlines. Your grades obviously do matter, SAT, ACT, but there's no like checklist going through, oh, do this freshman year, do this sophomore year to get you into college. Everyone I speak to in college now from different backgrounds, from the same background, all have done different things. Everyone stresses about the college application process. And I get it. Like I was in your shoes. Wow, it's been almost 4 years now, but I was there and it's extremely stressful. Everyone around you is stressful, which makes the environment more stressful. It's competitive in a lot of high schools. Don't let it bother you too much.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for that overview and those amazing insights. And Jonah, feel free to give your take on that question too.
Yeah, so I mean, I really think Ben kind of said most of what I was thinking, but I'll just reiterate because I think it's really important. Just do, especially like freshman, sophomore year, do what you enjoy. Like really, there's no um, like the best thing I think is to really like do things that you just genuinely enjoy, and then it's not going to be hard to show the colleges that you enjoy it because you do. You don't have to like try to fake any like genuine enjoyment of anything. Like you literally just do what you like, and spend time doing those things, and naturally you're going to get good at them and it's going to make you an interesting person. So yeah, I think that's really important. So.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that advice. And Krishi, feel free to give your take on that too.
Yeah, I agree with what was said before earlier. There's no like set like thing you have to do to get into the school that you want. Like for example, like I'm going to Wharton and I've never done DECA or any like BPA thing, like no business conferences. So it's not like you need a specific thing in order to go to the school that you want. You need to have some interest in it. So I had other things that I was really passionate about, and I made sure to talk about in my essays, which I felt really helped. And also, just like they said earlier, you honestly just need to do what makes you happy. And the admissions officers, like they're gonna read like so many applications. I'm pretty sure they can like tell who's genuine and who's not. So if you're genuine, I feel like that would really shine through your application and they would want you even more.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for the amazing advice. And let's go into the next question from Alyssa. And she is asking, how did you guys stand out as applicants? And this can also like go into the question of like, how can other people stand out as applicants? Like, there's this question of should you be well-rounded or should you have a spike in the college admissions process, or should you just like be yourself and go for whatever you're passionate about? So what's your take on like how to be unique when applying to colleges, or like maybe how you were unique in particular for your application? So if you guys have any takes on that, whether it's like this spike or well-rounded, or like what you guys considered yourself as, Tanya, feel free to give your advice on that.
Yeah, I think this really relates to the last question because obviously there's different ways to approach it. And I have a lot of friends. I have a friend who is an athlete and she committed to a school because of that. So obviously she was like very spiky. And I know people who've done a lot of things. For me personally, I had a handful of interests and I just pursued them fully. And so for me, it was more that I had a few things that I really liked doing, and they all sort of connected. So I think it really came across in my application and in my essays. Um, but my biggest piece of advice is to not stress over it, especially if you are an upperclassman. You probably already have established interests, and so don't feel like you need to join random clubs or like do random things just to look good on a college application.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely agree with that advice. And see, let's go for another question from Selena. And she asked, how did you guys decide on your school? So I know most of you guys applied early decision, some maybe early action, kind of like a little bit of a split on the pool here. But how did you guys decide on whether or not you should commit to that school? So Ben, feel free to give your experiences.
Right. I mean, the answer I tell people half jokingly is I decided partially because they chose me. Like, you're going to have a top choice. You might not get into your top choice. You're going to have other choices. You're going to know a ranking kind of what you want to do. A big thing for me was I wanted to go to a business school, and I really wanted to make sure I could take business classes starting my freshman year. So I like the idea of being in a big city. So I was looking on East Coast where all my family is. So I was looking in Boston, Philly, and New York mainly. And I visited Columbia, and I really didn't like their core. I didn't like that you have to take 2 years of liberal arts classes before you could start taking your concentration. So I think, I mean, there are a lot of different factors. Some people like the sports, and NYU has no sports teams really. That, like, we don't have a football team. So I think you have to kind of choose what's important to you in your college experience. And you get that from either talking to people who went to the school or attending the school. I don't know if they're doing tours in person or online or webinars. I don't know how they're doing it now, but look on their website, watch YouTube videos of people walking through a day in their life, see if you could see that being you. And there are some things that, I mean, there are different things about different schools that you have to realize. Some are in cities, some are on campuses, some have a major that you're interested in, some might not offer that. And then you kind of are able to narrow it down. And then once you get your list of 10 schools, then from there, kind of as you rank them, and then whoever tells you we want you, that's where you end up going.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of great tips right there. Lots of different resources online that you can look through for those online tours and webinars and stuff like that. So, Krishy, feel free to give your advice on that question too.
So I was in between applying to Cornell ED for their business school and then applying to Penn. And I chose Penn in the end because personally I wanted the whole like city vibe, and like in Philadelphia, I feel like you have that. And like in Cornell it's like Ithaca. Like I'm sure other people love the nature, but like I'm not a whole nature person. And I'm from Texas, so I really wanted like a whole like change of scenery. And another thing I really liked about Wharton and even like just UPenn as a whole is they have like a whole one university policy where you can take classes from other schools within the university. So if you're like in Wharton or if you're in like CAS, you don't have to take classes from, I mean, you have to obviously for your major, but you can also take classes from other schools. And I had a couple of interests. Like I wanted to do like psychology and computer science. So I'm going to pursue those as minors. And I feel like Penn makes it really easy for you to go to different schools within Penn and get those degrees. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. Let's see. Another question that Selena is asking is, what's one thing that you wish you knew or did before or while you were applying to colleges? So kind of like, is there anything that you regret like during the college admissions process, but wish you did differently in a sense? And Mia, feel free to give your take on that.
Yeah, so one thing that I think Jonah kind of touched on this, maybe Ben as well. But I think I just wish that I had started some parts of the process a little bit earlier. Like essays, you don't want to be doing those in your senior year fall. I know because I was doing them in my senior year fall and it was not fun. So you really want to start on those early, start thinking about them early, start researching your schools earlier. Those are the big things that, like, if you had to do it all again, like I would say, just do things earlier. And not only that, but also start looking into what scholarships are available to you and other factors that have to do with you being able to go to college.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for those amazing tips. And Jonah, feel free to go ahead and add your advice as well.
Yeah, this is just like kind of one thing. It's like looking at scholarships. It's like I got in and then I started looking at scholarships and then I started seeing these scholarships that are like for juniors or for like that I was just too late for and I had no idea about. So like maybe start to see if there are any scholarships like that that you would want to go for, because some of them are for younger people. So
Yeah, for sure. Definitely great to start early when looking for scholarships. And Tanya, feel free to give your advice as well.
Yeah, just wanted to add one thing. I was sort of in the opposite boat as Krishy in that I was deciding between the business schools of Cornell and Penn, and a couple others for ED. And obviously, I ended up choosing Cornell, but it was a hard decision for me. So I'll just add that if you're thinking of EDing or know you want to ED somewhere, start researching that early. Like, don't leave it too late because that gets stressful.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely great advice to keep in mind when potentially EDing a college. So let's see. Another question from Melinda is, were any of you involved in internships? And if so, how did they correspond to your current major or passion? So this can also tie into maybe like any internships you guys recommend for high schoolers, or like how to actually find them in high school. So Ben, feel free to give your take on that.
So in high school, I think internships are useful if you could get them. I think they're very difficult to get. I think, and I don't think they're necessary. I think they're useful but not necessary. I did get an internship for, I don't remember how long, it was just a couple of months. I was working for a local senator and it had nothing to do with anything I'm interested in. It was politics. I knew at the time I was going to business. And the logic is really colleges like to see that you can balance your time between different interests. And I mean, an internship kind of just shows professionalism. So, and obviously it's how you spin it. I was sitting there waiting for the phone to ring, and then when the phone would ring, had to write in an Excel spreadsheet and then leave. Or as I called it, I was managing the incoming phone calls for a senator's campaign and was working with data and Excel. So I don't think it's so, I didn't say Alexa. I don't think it's so important to get an internship. I think if you can, it's really based on what's available to you, which very often, unfortunately, is through connections and through just luck. I mean, you can spend hours looking on LinkedIn, looking on the internet. I think once you have a college name attached to you, it's a lot easier to get something. And I think if there's an opportunity you see that you think you'd be interested in, you'd enjoy, go for it. Don't kill yourself trying to find something.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for those amazing insights. And Mia, feel free to give your take on that too.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo what Ben said because high school internships are hard and you don't need them. You can show that passion elsewhere. I did happen to uh, get an internship in high school that was related to software engineering that I'm currently pursuing, but that opportunity kind of found me. You know, I didn't go out and actively look for it, and that was just through a school connection. But it again, like you don't need a high school internship to get into any school. They don't really expect that of you. If um, if you have a passion and you really want to try to get that kind of experience, then you can go for it. But don't be stressed if you don't have one. And also, like, you can show that interest once again through many other things, whether it's like extracurriculars or volunteering or something like that. You know, there are many ways to kind of show colleges like, hey, I'm interested in this field.
Yeah, for sure. And Tanya, feel free to give your advice on that as well.
Yeah, I definitely echo that. You don't need an internship. I did happen to have several, and I will say, if you are looking for one, reaching out to nonprofits is a great idea, um, especially if you're willing to do an unpaid internship. I think very few nonprofits will turn down free work, especially from a high school student who, you know, is enthusiastic about the mission and who's ready to, you know, just dive right in. So reaching out to nonprofits has worked for me. Also, reaching out to professors is another option. It's a little bit harder since they tend to be pretty busy, but it can't hurt, especially if you live near the college or you know people who go there or you have some other connection like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's some great tips right there. And let's see, another question is, what should we look for when researching schools, or how do we look for unique things about a certain university? So maybe, yes, can tie along that question of maybe some online tours, webinars, or other ways to research schools. So Jonah, feel free to give your advice on that.
Yeah, so I guess I'm more answering the part about like unique things about a certain university. So for me, like, so I would say if you know that there's an activity or a club that you want to do at the school, then definitely look and see what specific groups they have for that. So if I'm using myself as an example, I know for sure that I want to do a cappella in college. So I would look into their a cappella groups, and I mentioned schools a cappella groups by name in a lot of my essays. And so like that, like it shows that you've done your research, and it shows that you're gonna add to their community. And so if you have a certain thing that you know you want to do, then definitely look into how specifically you can do it there. And I think it's just generally beneficial to mention specific things like that.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
And also like it helps you get even more excited about the school. Sorry, I just cut you off, but
Oh no, you're good. I think that's really great advice. Like I know some people who mention like specific professors, clubs, and groups activities, like you mentioned. So yeah, and Mia, feel free to add on to that as well.
Yeah, so Jen had some great points about finding activities at that specific school that correspond with your interests. I'm also going to say pay attention to what certifications they offer, pay attention to what majors you can pursue, what minors you can pursue, because it's very embarrassing if you say in your essay you want to study, you want to major in computer engineering, and then the school doesn't offer that. So pay attention to like the specific names of the programs, maybe mention some names of programs. Like I remember when I was researching like MIT, there was like a specific media lab program that I like that featured like robotics, I think, that I was talking about in like one of the short takes. And because it genuinely got me excited about the school and like the research that I could do there. So yeah, then of course it's easier to write about that school if you know that there's something there that you really love.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the amazing advice for that question. And Krishi, feel free to give your take on that as well.
So what I did to research schools was I basically just went on their website and I looked at what I was interested in, like business, what concentrations they have in each school, and I just figured out how like the professors would teach, like what books they would use. I feel like I did a little extra work, but like what books and stuff. Like the professors, like I would Google them and see what works they've written. I feel like I was very extra about that. So I did a lot of research in that sense, like just their website is very useful. And then also pay attention to the name of the degree you're getting, especially if you're going into business. I'm not sure about other fields, but there's like a BBA and then there's like a BS in economics. So do some research about that, because I had to do some research because I wasn't sure what the difference was until I started applying. But like basically, I'll just sum it up. Like a BBA is kind of like business knowledge and theory. So you can tell how, like what type of classes, like what you would be learning in your classes, my apologies, versus like in BS and economics is more like hands-on, it's kind of more math focused and stuff. So yeah, just do some research on the degrees and majors and minors, as Mia said.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for that advice. And kind of going along with those insights, Selena's asking, how did you guys decide on your majors? So whether it be about like the courses or like the professors, kind of just like the overall theme of the major of the school that you're committed to, how did you decide? So Ben, feel free to share your experiences with that.
So my answer for NYU Business School may be a bit different than other schools just because of the way it's structured. But basically, I knew I wanted to study business coming into school. So going into NYU's business school, you're declared a business major undecided, basically, which means you're studying business and you could choose one or two of 13 different categories to concentrate in. So I knew I was business from my first day freshman year, but didn't really know where I was going to go from that. As a sophomore, you're required to take 4 out of 6 intro classes, which are kind of the first class of a concentration. So from there, based on how I liked the class, how I thought it would be relevant to my future, I then actually just a couple of weeks or months ago declared that I was going to be studying management and marketing. So it's, I don't know how it works in other schools, but I think a lot of it is based on, I think a lot of schools let you come in undecided, if I know correctly. So you could come in, take a couple of classes in a couple of different fields, see kind of what aligns with the career path you're looking for, and then make a decision from there.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And Mia, feel free to share your answer to that question as well.
Yeah, this kind of goes along with what Ben was saying, but like there was a time in junior year when I thought for sure I was going to study computer science. Like I thought that that was it. But then kind of over the course of the following year, I started to realize that I'm not 100% decided on my major. So that kind of affected where I was then looking, because I wanted to be able to go to a place that I could take a lot of exploratory classes and figure out what exactly I want to do. So that's actually why MIT kind of really appealed to me, because I know that there are some schools where like their computer science school is separate from their engineering school, and that wasn't sitting right with me because I really wasn't sure which way I was going to go. But with MIT, it's like everyone comes in undecided. You don't even apply to like a school or a major or anything like that. And I knew that that flexibility was very important for me. So that was a big reason why I kind of that school kind of moved up in my rankings. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences on that. And Krishi, feel free to share your take on that too.
So, similar to Ben, I knew I wanted to study business. And so there's two types of business programs as well that I didn't know about until like my senior year fall. Don't do your research last minute. That's like one main thing. But there's like direct admit business schools, and then there's like, I guess, non-direct admit. So basically the difference is like in one of them, you apply to the school as a whole, and then your sophomore year, you have to apply to the specific business school, and for undergraduates. And then another one is direct admit, which is like UT Austin is, UPenn Wharton is. You apply directly to the school. And I feel like I like that better, like having the security of knowing that I was going to be able to study business, which is what I wanted. And if I was a little unsure, I probably would have applied to a non-direct admit business school. So it's like a thing.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your experiences with deciding on your majors. So we can end it off with one last question here. So someone's asking, what are some of the best experiences with college essays or the college application process? So maybe like what was your favorite memory from college apps or the favorite moment? Like I know for me personally, it was definitely a big self-discovery process. Like I think my writing skills improved by like 10 times like after like writing all those essays like in a short span of time. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, so feel free to share some of your memorable moments and stuff like that. Let's see. So Jonah, feel free to share experiences.
So, with writing essays, um, definitely try to have fun with it. Because if you're having fun writing it, then the admissions people are going to be more likely to have fun reading it. And uh, so when I was writing my Cornell essay, the idea that it was based around kind of started in my head as a joke, and then I was like, wait, this might actually work. So I'll just say what it is. Please don't steal my idea, but it's fine. So when I actually visited campus in August, they weren't technically open to visitors, um, but like I went anyways. I wasn't allowed in the buildings, but I saw the area on the campus, and I loved it. But I went to this restaurant, uh, and they had a peanut butter and jelly burger, and I got it, and it was really good. And so I actually wrote about the burger as kind of like the opening to my main Cornell essay. So like uh, that was like a fun, like, I mean, I was just having fun writing that essay, and basically it's not just like, oh, I had this burger and it was good and that's why I want to come here, but I what like basically I was like, they combine the peanut butter and jelly and the burger, and you wouldn't expect them to go together, but like it turned out really good. So then I want to combine engineering and these other classes because Cornell's really flexible, and it's like you can make something even better. So like it was like I had the idea as a joke, and then I actually was like, wait, what if I do this? And I tried writing it, and I really liked it. So that ended up being my essay. So like try to have fun with it, and you might come up with some great ideas.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree. Play around and just don't be afraid to have fun during the college admissions process when writing your essays. So Mia, feel free to share your experiences as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I have a few memorable moments in my like college admissions process. Going to a few like virtual clients was really fun. Um, I treated my interviews as being a fun time to just be able to ask that person anything about their experiences while they were at that school. But another thing that I found was, and it relates to essays, is that there was this one essay prompt where no matter it was like I wrote like 4 or 5 drafts for it and it really wouldn't stick. But I kind of like had to take a step back and realize that I was overthinking it and then um really find my voice for that essay. And honestly that was super rewarding. I came out with an essay that I feel like really said a lot about me, a lot more than like the original essay ideas. So like college admissions isn't always going to be fun, but you can learn a lot about yourself while you're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing those amazing insights about your process. And Tanya, feel free to share your experiences as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it was really cool reflecting on high school and the stuff I did because you usually don't take that time to like step back and I guess really think about your activities over the past however many years. And so that was a really fun experience for me. Um, and also, I think writing essays with friends is very fun, just like as a group study session. Um, Whether on Zoom or in person, I think it makes it, just a little bit more tolerable. So I definitely recommend that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. And actually, I think there's one more question, but that may just apply to like one or two people in here. So, someone asked for those who are going to study business, like or finance or economics, what extracurriculars did you have and how did you find those opportunities since most programs and competitions are focused on STEM and humanities? Like, what's your process with like finding business related extracurriculars? And yeah, Ben, feel free to give your take on that.
Um, Again, a couple years back from me, but in high school, I remember I was doing mock trial, I'm sorry, DECA, which was definitely very business focused. I was a part of mock trial, which isn't necessarily business focused, but you could spin it a little bit to something with organizational and presentations and stuff like that. I was also part of my school newspaper and wrote a lot of business focused articles. So I think even if a club isn't fully business focused, you could kind of take the business aspect of it. I was also like the treasurer of a couple of clubs in high school. So that's again, not a business club necessarily, but the business part of it. And you're able to kind of spin that to show what you want to do. Same thing with classes, like you could take business classes or you could show how one of your classes can be applied to business. I think it's all about seeing what's offered in front of you and finding out how to make it fit what you want to.
Yeah, for sure. Those are some great recommendations for resources and tips related to business. Tanya, feel free to share your take on that too.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Ben. I did, I had a lot of business positions in clubs that weren't really business focused. Apart from that, I think my internships were a big part of my application. And I also had a lot of leadership in terms of like student government and starting my own student organization. And so I think the last two are particularly interesting because even though they weren't really business focused, I think leadership is a big one that can be good to showcase. And apart from that, I would say business schools aren't really looking for people who are like super into business all the time. You can have, different interests. And in fact, you probably should have different interests and, pursue whatever it is that you like that isn't necessarily related to your major.
Yeah, definitely agree. Tons of different options for business majors, other than just like the standard business types of extracurriculars. And Krishi, feel free to share your take on that too.
Honestly, I think you can find business in anything you do. Like any extracurricular, you can take the business aspect of it and write that in your description. So, like, I did HOSA because I thought I wanted to go into healthcare, but there was this one event that I competed in called Medical Innovation. And I talked about how I had to work as a team and we had to collaborate and how we had to like innovate basically to create a new idea. And I feel like anything like that, just like innovation, teamwork, education, something like that, you can twist it to talk about how it helped you develop your business side. So you don't have to do specific like business extracurriculars if they aren't offered in your school or they're like hard to find. You can always turn other activities that you're really passionate about into business.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely agree with those points. Thank you guys for sharing your experiences and advice for all of the attendees' questions. So can we just get a hype in the chat? Can we get a big thank you to all of our speakers for giving their amazing insights? Yes, look at that. So if you guys want to connect further with the speakers, I'm sure you can find them on platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, and such, and stuff like that. So feel free to connect with them if you have any further questions. But before we end this off, we're going to just take a few pictures and then end it off with our social media competition. So can everyone turn on those cameras? Let's see those faces. Last college panel AMA of the night. Yes. Oh my God, yes, come on, can we get, yes, that iconic background. Oh no, my dog is barking, but alrighty. I keep on forgetting what that background is. Oh, I have short-term memory loss.
Got it like once, like the
Is it like
entire.
Detective Conan, is it? Oh my God, it's the right anime, okay. All right, guys, turn on those cameras. We got those full 2 rows. Come on, guys. Let's pull through. Or else, you know what? I'll just pull out that Adobe Photoshop for later. For the bottom half. Just kidding. Or maybe I'm not. I don't know. Okay. I guess you can like, let me see if I can like hide non-video participants. It's kind of like a closed type. Ooh, yes. Okay. Yes, we got Melinda pulling through. Let's see. Anyone else? Anyone else want to turn on the camera? Come on, guys. We're so close. Okay. We can just do it from here. I'm just hiding non-video participants. So let's all do our basic poses. Maybe let's do some peace signs here. Oh my God, my dog. No. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, and all right, awesome. Oh my God, someone just turned on their camera as soon as I did. Okay. Alrighty, so let's do maybe like a heart, another basic pose. I am running out of ideas, honestly. So, ready, guys? 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, thank you guys. And just to end it off, you know what, honestly, let's do the video thing since we have time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play a little clip of a song and we're just gonna wave. So you know what, I'll do this one because I have an obligation to play this song every time. So sorry for this, but when the beat drops, I'm gonna tell you guys to wave and you'll wave. So all right. Second. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm still waiting for the beat to drop. Okay. Yes, you did get rickrolled. Wave! Everyone got rickrolled in here. Who's excited? College panel AMA, the last one of the BEAMathon. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. All right, guys. Oh, thank God I got it right this time because I usually tell people before I rickroll them, so that doesn't count. But I guess in the span of a 1 weekend, I rickrolled like at least 50 people plus. So you're welcome. I should have played the whole YouTube video, but you know what? It's all right. I think this is good enough. So can we get a drum roll, please, for our social media competition winners? Ooh, yes, someone's doing it. All right. 3, 2, 1. And congratulations, y'all, for winning some Beam stickers. And you guys have a really great chance to win some of our special prizes that will be awarded in our closing ceremony later on. So before I end this off, I'm just gonna play the rest of the song and hold on. Okay. See you guys. Thank you for coming. Bye. Alright, I'm gonna end the Zoom. Bye.